Okay, so here we are. We're in Pecora Airport, and I'm going to be flying on one of these Microlights. And yeah, you can see the dragon on the Microlight. And a Microlight, it only has space for two people. You can see there's two seats there. And when you get on, just like when you're getting on a motorbike, you're going to have to wear a helmet and gloves. It gets very, very cold because there's no real window except for that window that's right in front of us. It gets very, very cold. And so before I got on the Microlight, they gave me some gloves and they gave me a hat, a hard hat, to prepare for this amazing flight. And this flight was the maximum length that a Microlight for the Microlight flight. It was a 30-minute flight, so our tour is about 35 minutes. Welcome, Mom. And there is another plane that actually left just before us. And that one is not a Microlight, so it could fly for about, I think, 45 minutes to an hour. And Alice says the helmet won't do you much good if you fall from 1,000 feet. So that's our pilot. And I'm sitting there at the back of the Microlight, and they're just getting everything ready to go. Oh, thank you, Mabel, for the follow. Remember, if you're new to the channel, please follow. No, we're not going to. We're not going to be towed. And then you can see in the background, in Pecora, the amazing Himalayan range that we're going to fly to. Concepta is asking me where am I from. I'm originally from South Africa, and I've been living in Hong Kong for the last 3.5 years. Thank you, Kathy, for the follow. And so everything's getting ready. Now, I filmed this on my phone that I'm using to do the live stream right now, and then we have some other camera angles that when we start, just before we start flying, you'll see those other angles as well. This is powered with a motor at the back, and you'll be able to see the motor just before we fly off. There's a little motor at the back, but it's very much based on the hang glider. Oh, Laurie says it's your G rubber band. Welcome, Laurie. Really happy to have you here. There isn't much room for fuel, and that's why I took the maximum. It was really the maximum allowed flight time for this Microlight. Okay, so this tour, there the flight, the other plane goes, and I shot. If you're wanting to know like some technical details, I shot this on the latest iPhone, and there we are. There you can see a better shot of the Microlight. So I shot this on my iPhone in cinematic mode, and that's why it looks. There you can see the flight that's ahead, the plane that's ahead of us. It's really, really small. I'm surprised it doesn't fall out the screen. So we're leaving Pecora Airport. Pecora is a metropolitan city in Nepal, and it's the second most populous city in Nepal after Kathmandu, and has about a population of about 500,000. And it's about 200 kilometers or 120 miles west of the capital of Kathmandu. And the city is, and we'll be able to see this towards the end of at the beginning and the end of the flight. The city is on the shore of the Fiwa Lake, and sits approximately at about 822 meters above sea level. And the Annapurna range that you can see, that you will be able to see from on this tour, is it holds 3 out of 10 of the highest peaks in the world. are in this. So we'll be able to see 3 of the 10. So how the video that you're seeing from the different angles is actually provided to me. I paid a bit extra on the flight, and they filmed. Now there you can see I've got my gimbal in my hand and holding the shot steady for us. And this is Pecora Airport, the old airport. This brand new airport that has just been opened. But this is the old airport. Really, really small. It's literally just a building and a runway. And here we're going to start. There you can see the mountain range. So Pecora really is considered the tourism capital of Nepal. And I know Kiara's here, and she's gone hiking here. And it's a base for hiking and trekkers to do the Annapurna circuit in this area, in this part of the Himalayas. So we're going to see the, yeah, there we're off. And we're off. It doesn't need much space to get off the ground. It got off the ground really easily. And I want to show you, just have a look what happens to my gimbal. It's going to go back to me, and you're going to see the wind was actually really strong. And I end up, that's Fishtail Mountain. You can see in the back. So now at this moment, you'll see that there, my phone the gimbal gives up and just falls. But I carried on filming and just held my phone very steady, and was able to get some really great shots. I've noticed that when you have a gimbal and it goes into the air and it doesn't know what is up and what is down, it struggles a bit. Yeah, so I ended up holding my phone for the rest of the time, and we're going to get some great different angles. There you can see the Himalayan range. There's Fishtail in the distance. We'll talk more about Fishtail. And we now flying over the city of so Everest is not on this side. It's further. That's closer to Kathmandu. Yeah. So Fishtail, which is that really sharp mountain you can see in front of us, has an elevation of 6,993 meters, or 22,943 feet. And it's the closest mountain range to the city. Now, people want to know, like, who did you fly with? And you can see the name of the company I flew with. They're called the Aviation Club Nepal. And they've been pioneers in air sports activities in Nepal. They actually started their operations in 1996 with the primary purpose of providing sightseeing tours around Nepal, and they're the ones that offer flights from Microlight flights from the city of Pecora. They've been doing this for 25 years, and they've flown for over 26. Oh, sorry. Oh, and Linda says when she was staying in Pecora, she could see a Fishtail Mountain. We're going to get an amazing view. So you can, I don't know if you can sort of hear, it was a bit windy. I could hear the back of the Microlight, but to be honest, it wasn't that noisy. So a very low hum. It was just really, really cold up there. We went at about 8 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, so the Aviation Club, they're really, really they're a reliable company. They've been around. They've been doing these flights for 25 years. They've been around since 1996, and they've flown over 50,000 people. So they're a really good company. This flight, if you want to know, it was $200 US dollars for a 30-minute flight. So that was if you ever find yourself in Pecora and want to have this experience, it's about $200 US dollars, and I would really recommend it. You can see that it's amazing. So let's talk about microlights. Microlight is a lightweight 1 or 2 seated fixed wing aircraft that uses weight shift control. Weight shift control, they've got, like, you can see, like the pilot in front of me has a little bar there. It's almost like you've been in a hang glider, except you're sitting down, and you really are like suspended in like a 3-wheeled carriage with the engine. And then we're having a look below us as we leave the town of Pecora. So these aircraft are really controlled by pushing against that horizontal control bar in roughly the same way as a hang glider pilot flies. So a microlight is really just a glorified hang glider with a tiny little engine at the back. You can see it's just a glorified hang glider, but really a spectacular way to see the city. And I just want to say, like, it was very, very cold, and that's why when we went in at that time in the morning, and so the wind chill is insane. It's just incredibly, incredibly cold. And as you know, if you've come on some of my other adventures, I've got a fear of heights, and so this experience was pretty terrifying for me. I've never held on to that phone so hard. Yeah, at some points the frame rate makes it look like the propeller, like, is not moving at all, but moving very slowly. That's just the frame rate. No, Rita, you're welcome. You've joined we were looking at Fishtail Mountain, and so yeah, these Microlight aircraft came around during the late 70s and early 80s, mostly stimulated by the hang gliding movement, and many people were like looking for like an affordable powered flight. And as a result, many aviation authorities set up definitions of lightweight and slow-moving airplanes that could be subject to minimum regulations, and that resulted in airplanes that are commonly called ultralight aircraft or microlights. Although the weight and the speed limits differ from country to country, I think the weight limit is about 400. Depends on the country, but I think the weight limit was about 450 kilograms. So here you can see the beautiful mountain range. Now that big pointy one in the distance, that is Fishtail Mountain, and and just an interesting fact, its highest peak has actually never been officially climbed, and the reason is that no one's been able to gain a permit from the government of Nepal to climb Fishtail Mountain. And so the peak of Fishtail Mountain is about 25 kilometers, or about 16 miles north of Pecora. And the peak of Fishtail Mountain is considered sacred, and the mountain is the peak of Fishtail Mountain is considered sacred and believed to be the home of the god Shiva, who we're going to see a little bit later. He's a Hindu god, and we'll see him on the return flight. There's a big statue on the mountain on our return, and we'll be able to see him. So why has Fishtail Mountain not been climbed? Well, there was only one confirmed attempt. That was in 1957 by a British team led by Lieutenant Colonel Jimmy Roberts. and they climbed within like 150 meters or 492 feet of the summit via the North Ridge at approximately 6,943 meters or 22,793 feet. But they had promised the king of Nepal that they wouldn't go to the summit because it's considered sacred, so they never actually got to the summit. And no permits to climb the mountain have been issued since then. There have been reports that a New Zealand climber, Bill Dens, made a successful but illegal attempt to get to Fishtail in the early 80s. Now, a lot of people say if you look at Fishtail, you can see some animals. So when I was at the Pecora, they've got the International Mountain Museum. They had a little, I'm going to share a picture with you. They had a little illustration showing the animals that you could see. They call them snow shapes. One of them is a bird. So if you look carefully at Fishtail Mountain, they say you can see, there's different animals you can see. A mom and a child, a bird. And so take some postcards of the mountain, of Fishtail, and keep that postcard that I've shared with you, and then see if you can see the snow shapes. Man, isn't that spectacular? Yes, and in the International Mountain Museum, where I got a lot of the information that I've presented on these tours, they have, it's an amazing museum you can visit when you're in Pecora. So now we're gonna turn, and so I'll just tell you, if you weren't on my previous tour where we went to Everest, there's some good postcards. I will never forget that Christmas. If you were in that Everest tour, you'll remember that I told you about how this area was formed, why the mountains are so tall, and it has to do with plate tectonics. It's the Indian plate, India, that crashed into Eurasian plate, and that collision has caused the seabed, what was the seabed, to become the highest mountains in the world. Oh, some amazing postcards right here. There's Fishtail straight ahead of us. Oh, the height of Fishtail, in meters, Fishtail is 6,993 meters, or 22,943 feet. So that's the height of Fishtail. It's not even surrounding this area. There's three of the 10 tallest mountains in the world are in this area. Yeah, and it's an ongoing process. These mountains are still growing every year. They grow a couple of millimeters. But you can see it's just a beautiful, beautiful area. And in a moment, we're going to turn back, and we're going to have an amazing view of the Fiwa Lake. Oh, Lynn says it was nearly 30 years ago that I was in Nepal, and there were no microlight trips. I would have loved to do it, but I went White River rafting. Yeah, that's one of the things you can do from Pecora. So we're going to be looking now at Fiwa Lake. It's a beautiful lake. It's one of the things that makes Pecora such a beautiful city to visit. No, you won't be able to see Everest from here. It's just it's the other side of the range. So it's really, really far. You would have to, we went to see Everest at the beginning of the year. We were in Kathmandu, about 200 kilometers away, and then we started to fly. So the cost of this flight was $200 for a 30-minute flight. So I really recommend, if you ever find yourself in Pecora, and even if you're scared of heights, like I am. Yes, the wind was very cold. They gave me gloves, and they gave me one of those masks that you put on your face, and I was wearing the helmet, and they also gave me a jacket. So my arms did ache. Yeah, I was holding onto that phone for dear life. I can't remember, but yeah, you just paid a bit extra, and they filmed it. There were no there were no parachutes that I was aware of on this flight. So there you can see the valley, or it just went out of focus. That was the valley where we did the hot air ballooning the day before. To be honest, I think he did speak English, but it was very difficult to talk. He really had to concentrate on flying. So I'm just waiting. So we're going to be flying over the lake soon, and you're going to see the sunrise, sunrising and reflected in the lake. It's really, really beautiful. And I'm going to point out. Yeah, I'm glad I wasn't the one steering there, but he did a really, really good job. Especially, we're gonna be flying over the Lord Shiva statue and the lake very shortly, and there's also on the Lake Freeway there's a temple, and I'll be pointing those out to you. But both the landing and the takeoff are very smooth, and these microlights, because they are light, it really doesn't take too much for them to get into the air. You saw how we, with hardly any effort, we just flew up into the air. Yeah, no parachute. Now these microlights, because they are so, even if the engine died, I don't think it would be a problem, because they really are gliding. They essentially are gliders. It would just glide to the ground, and welcome, John. John, we are here in Pecora in Nepal, flying in a microlight, and in a second, we're going to be coming to Lake Fiwa, and there are a number of things I will be pointing out. Yeah, there wouldn't be too much of a crash. It really, like, these planes are really light. You just glide, and the plane has wheels at the bottom of it, and so it would just drive into the ground a bit. Welcome, Stephen. So this area over here, this is an area people like to come to watch the sunrise, and this is also the area where we did paragliding. It's one of the tall mountains in Pecora, and you come here, you can do paragliding. We paraglide off this mountain, and then it's also a great place to watch the sunrise and the sunset. And here it's coming into view Lake Fiwa. And I want you to look out there for that little island, and it'll come into view shortly. And we're going to get some. There we are. Beautiful. The way the sun hits the lake at this time in the morning, it was about 8:30. Is just spectacular. If you're going to do this microlight, what often happens is the mountain clouds over, especially the mountain that we saw, the Himalayan mountains. And so if you want to do this microlight, it's highly recommended that you go in the morning before the clouds hit the Himalayan mountain range and obscure your view. So there it is, Lake Fiwa. This is the lake that surrounds the town of Pokora. And it'll go in and out of focus. It was quite hard for my phone to figure out where to focus while we were flying, so it goes in and out of focus. But we're going to get some spectacular shots. There we are. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? That is spectacular. Wow. That's what it's all about. There we are. And so you can see in these shots how it looks, because of the frame rate, it looks like the propeller at the back is not moving, but it very much is. And it's just the frame rate that makes it look like it's on. So there you can see the wheel. There's the two wheels on each side, and then the wheel in the front, and that's what's going to help us land. It's going to be a very smooth landing when we land in a few minutes. So now we're coming up to the statue of Lord Shiva. So that is the. Oh, there we go. We're gonna get so. Lord Shiva is one of the principal deities of Hinduism, and they've just constructed a statue recently. They completed it in 2021. They added a viewpoint of about 1,500 meters above sea level, and it's the second tallest statue of Shiva in Nepal. So if you've gone there, you can see it in the background, and it's going to come into view now. There it is. That's the statue of Lord Shiva. Completed in 2021. It's the second tallest statue. It's 51 feet tall, and look at that. Amazing to see it from this vantage point. So that's Lord Shiva, the Lord Shiva statue. It's one of the places, if you come to Pokora, you can see it in the background, that you can, I recommend visiting. You can hire a car, take a bus, or a taxi up there. Literally. Next, we're going to see this is a place that I went to. It's called the World Peace Pagoda, and it's actually in TripAdvisor. It's ranked as the second top attraction in Pokora. It's actually it was built by the Japanese. There's a Buddhist Japanese group that have been building a peace pagodas. There's the peace pagoda, that white building, and that stupa was the first world peace pagoda in Nepal, and there are over 71 pagodas, world peace pagodas, that have been built by this Japanese group. The World Peace Pagoda is 115 feet tall and about 340 4 feet wide. There, you can see the island that is known as the Lake Temple. It's a Hindu temple, and is one of the most important religious monuments in Pechora. And it's located on a small island in the middle of Lake Fiwa. There you can see the camera. There we go. So you got to see the camera. Yeah, we all got sound. So yeah, now we're gonna be landing, and you can see the last little bit. Now you can see below us the town of Pechora, and you're gonna get a really nice view, and still the Himalayas are there in the background, and we're gonna get a really nice view of the airport as we come in. The airport is really just a little strip of land, clear little strip. It's a very basic airport, but it has been replaced with a brand new airport built by the Chinese, I believe. It's just called the island is just called the Lake Temple, or Tal Bahari Temple. Cynthia says I've closed my eyes and kept clicking. But it's just known as the Lake Temple. And here we can see the airport should be coming into view shortly. Oh, in Slovenia we also have a lake, and it's called Lake Bled. Yeah, okay, and there's the airport. There is Pechora Airport. What a spectacular location for an airport. So we're coming into land. Oh, sorry about that. And it's going to be a very nice, soft landing. Very easy landing. And we know we're back safe. See, it really is very smooth. So, I hope you enjoyed that. We've got lots of amazing more tours coming up. We're going to see whale sharks, and we're going to see the world's smallest primate. We're also going to be traveling to a place called Macau, the Vegas of China. It's a special administrative region that used to be part of the Portuguese territories. And I hope you enjoyed this flight. And if you want to see it again, I will be repeating it again in another time slot tomorrow. So if you want to come back, feel free. And if you find yourself in Pechora, really recommend that you come and take this flight. You can contact the Aviair Club, and it's just about $200 and you can have this amazing experience. So I really hope you enjoyed that. And I want to tell you a quick story. Right after this flight, when I got off, I got out of this plane, and I literally ran to the airport because my flight was leaving. And I've never gone so fast through security. Ego really helps me confront my fears and do things that I'm very terrified to do, like my fear of heights. So thank you to you for helping me do things that I'm really, really nervous to do and challenge me. So thank you.